The Forbidden Zone. The warning that everyone feared. The galaxy had no secrets anymore. For 12 billion years, every star system had been mapped and explored. 10,000 different species lived among the stars, from giant world ships to tiny beings inside dying suns. The Galactic Consortium kept records of everything. But there was one place nobody was allowed to go, a small region of space surrounded by ancient warning beacons. Commander Vel stood on the bridge of his ship, the Endless Horizon. He was a Cyrosian, covered in silver scales that caught the light. He stared at his navigation screen, looking at a red circle around a yellow star. This was the Soul Exclusion Zone, and it had been forbidden for longer than his species had existed. The distress call. His second officer spoke quietly. "Commander, we're receiving the automated warnings again. They say to turn back immediately." Vel didn't turn back. The High Council had given him orders. Someone had sent a distress signal from inside the Forbidden Zone. Someone had broken the oldest law in the galaxy, and now they needed help. The Council wanted to know who had been foolish enough to enter. "Continue forward," Vel ordered. His crew looked nervous. Every child in the galaxy learned about the Soul Exclusion Zone in school. The lesson was simple: don't go there, don't ask why, just stay away. But Vel was a commander. He had a mission to complete. The ancient beacons. The Endless Horizon passed the first warning beacon. It was incredibly old, built from materials that didn't exist anywhere else anymore. The beacon spoke its message in every known language and thousands of dead languages. "This region is forbidden. By order of the Elders of the Void, no vessel may enter. Turn back now. This is your final warning." The Elders of the Void. Vel felt cold when he heard that name. They were the oldest beings in existence. They had lived before the first stars formed, before matter itself cooled from the fires of creation. They were pure consciousness, pure thought. They rarely spoke to younger species. They rarely did anything at all. But they had created this exclusion zone. They had placed these warning beacons. And they had never explained why. Finding the third planet. The communications officer called out. "Commander, I'm picking up the distress signal more clearly. It's coming from the third planet in this system. A small world, mostly water." Vel nodded. "What else can you tell me?" The officer checked his instruments. "The star is young, only about 5 billion years old. The system has 8 planets. The third one has oxygen and liquid water on its surface." He paused, his eyes growing wide. "Commander, I'm detecting radio signals. Artificial radio signals. There's a civilization on that planet." The bridge fell completely silent. Everyone stared at the display. "That's impossible," Vel said slowly. "The exclusion zone has been here for over 800,000 years. No civilization could have developed without the consortium knowing." "The signals are primitive," the officer continued. "Basic electromagnetic communications. They've been to their moon but no further." The mystery deepens. Vel sat down in his command chair. His mind raced with questions. A young civilization trapped inside the most forbidden region of space, completely unknown to the rest of the galaxy. How was this possible? Why had the Elders of the Void sealed this system away? "Sir," his second officer said, "the distress signal is from a consortium research vessel called the Silent Observer. According to records, it was assigned to monitor the exclusion zone from outside. It looks like the crew decided to enter." "Fools," Vel muttered. "Can we communicate with them?" "Negative. The signal is automated. It started transmitting 3 days ago and keeps repeating." Vel made his decision. "Take us in. Find that ship." Searching for answers. As they traveled deeper, Vel accessed the consortium archives. He searched for any information about the Soul Exclusion Zone. Most files were sealed and restricted to the highest authorities. But he found fragments, pieces of a puzzle that made no sense. One document came from a scientist who had studied the warning beacons. The scientist had discovered something strange: the beacons weren't designed to keep people out of the Sol system. They were designed to keep something in. Another document was part of a conversation between a consortium diplomat and one of the elders of the void. The diplomat had asked why the exclusion zone existed. The elder's response was confusing: "We do not fear what lives there now. We fear what they might remember." Vel read that line 3 times. It made no sense. What could possibly frighten beings as ancient and powerful as the elders of the void? What could a primitive civilization remember that would matter to creatures who had existed since the birth of time? Entering orbit. The endless horizon entered orbit around the third planet. It was beautiful in a simple way. Blue oceans covered most of the surface. Green and brown land masses dotted the globe. White clouds drifted through the atmosphere. Everywhere, on every continent, there were lights, cities, roads, signs of a busy, growing civilization. "I'm detecting their communications," the officer reported. "They call themselves humans. They call their planet Earth. Humans. Earth." Vel had never heard these names before. Nobody in the galaxy had. "What about the silent observer?" he asked. "I've located it, Commander. It's in a decaying orbit on the far side of the planet. Life signs are minimal. Most of the crew appears to be dead. The rescue. Take us there." The endless horizon moved to intercept the damaged research vessel. As they approached, Vel could see the damage. The ship hadn't been attacked. There were no weapon marks. Instead, it looked like the ship had simply stopped working. Systems had failed. Power had drained. The vessel was dark and cold. "I'm reading 3 life signs," the medical officer announced. "They're very weak. We need to bring them aboard immediately." Vel authorized the rescue operation. While his team retrieved the survivors, he continued studying the planet below. Earth. Such a simple name for such a mysterious place. The rescue team returned with 3 survivors. 2 were unconscious and taken to the medical bay. The third was barely awake. She was a Thean named Scholar Yenna, the chief researcher of the Silent Observer. They brought her to the bridge. She was weak, her normally bright purple skin now pale and gray. But her eyes were alert, too alert. There was something in them Vel had never seen before. It took him a moment to recognize it. Terror. The terrible truth. The scholar's warning. "Scholar Yenna," Vel said gently, "what happened to your ship? Why did you enter the exclusion zone?" Yenna looked at him. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She tried again. "We had to know," she whispered. "For centuries, we watched from outside. We detected radio signals. We knew there was life here. We had to know why the elders sealed them away." "And what did you find?" Yenna's hands began to shake. "We found them. The humans. We observed them from orbit. We studied their history, their culture, their biology. They seemed so ordinary, so young, so weak. We couldn't understand why the elders feared them." "The elders fear them?" Vel repeated. "A billion-year secret." "Yes." Yenna grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "The elders of the void. The oldest beings in existence. They are afraid. They've been afraid for billions of years. They created the exclusion zone, not to protect the galaxy from the humans. They created it to protect themselves." Vel felt his blood run cold. Protect themselves from these primitives. Yenna laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. "We accessed the oldest archives in the consortium. Records that have been sealed since before our species existed. Records that tell the truth about the elders, about the universe, about everything. What truth? Yenna leaned closer. Her voice dropped to a whisper. The elders are not the oldest beings in existence, Commander. They never were. They were created. Everything was created. The stars, the planets, the laws of physics themselves. All of it was imagined into existence by minds so powerful that their thoughts became reality. What minds? Vel asked, though he already knew the answer. Yenna pointed at the planet below. Them. The humans. They're not a young species. They're the oldest species. Older than the elders, older than the universe itself. They created everything, and then they chose to forget. The impossible story. Vel stared at her. That's impossible. I thought so too, Yenna said. But then strange things started happening on our ship. Crew members began having dreams. Not normal dreams. Dreams of creating stars. Dreams of building galaxies. Dreams of shaping reality with nothing but thought. The ship's computer started experiencing what it called visions. Systems began to fail for no reason. She trailed off, her eyes filling with tears. Then what? Vel prompted. Then we got too close. We entered the atmosphere. We wanted to make contact, and something happened. Something reached into our minds. Something old. Something that has been sleeping for billions of years. It stirred in its sleep, and our ship died. Our crew died. Not from attack, from the weight of it. The presence of something so vast that our minds couldn't contain even the smallest fragment of its attention. Connecting the pieces. Vel sat back. His mind was reeling. It had to be impossible. And yet, Yenna had no reason to lie. The evidence was all around him. The ancient warning beacons. The sealed records. The fear of the elders themselves. What do the humans know about this? He asked. Nothing, Yenna said. That's the most incredible part. They have no idea what they are. They think they're just another species on just another planet. They have no memory of their true nature. They live and die in ignorance of the power they hold, the power to create, the power to destroy, the power to unmake everything with a single thought. Why? Vel asked. Why would beings of such power choose to forget, choose to become mortal? Yenna shook her head. The records didn't say. Perhaps they grew tired of eternity. Perhaps they wanted to experience their own creation from the inside. Perhaps they simply wanted to dream new dreams. Whatever the reason, they made themselves small. They made themselves weak. They made themselves human. The bridge goes silent. The bridge was completely silent. Every crew member had heard Yenna's words. Every crew member was trying to process what she had said. Vel stood up and walked to the viewing window. Earth hung in space before him. Beautiful, peaceful, innocent, and apparently the most dangerous thing in the entire universe. We need to report this to the consortium, he said. No. Yenna's voice was sharp. You cannot. If the consortium learns the truth, there will be war. There are species who will want to destroy Earth before the humans can awaken. There are species who will want to worship them. There are species who will try to exploit them. The galaxy will tear itself apart. Then what do you suggest? The presence. Before Yenna could answer, the communications officer called out. Commander, I'm receiving a transmission. It's on a frequency we've never encountered before. It's coming from inside the ship. Vel turned. Inside the ship? From where? The officer looked up, his face pale. From everywhere, sir. From the walls. From the air. From inside our own minds. The transmission began to play. It wasn't words, not sounds, not images. It was something else, something that bypassed the ears and eyes and spoke directly to the soul. You should not have come. Vel felt the presence wash over him. It was vast beyond comprehension, ancient beyond measure, and it was not fully awake. This was just the edge of something, the smallest fragment of attention from a mind that spanned the universe. We have slept for so long. We chose to forget. We chose to be small. Why do you disturb our dreaming? Speaking to gods. We meant no harm, Vel said aloud, not knowing if the presence could even hear him. We came to help. We received a distress signal. There was a pause. Then something that might have been laughter. Help. Yes, we remember that word. We created it. We created all words. We created the minds that speak them and the air that carries them. We created you, little one. Every scale on your body, every thought in your mind. We dreamed you into existence. Vel felt his knees grow weak. What do you want? Want? We want to sleep. We want to dream. We want to live our little lives and die our little deaths and be human. That's all we've ever wanted since we chose to forget. Then we'll leave. We'll go. We'll tell no one. The final warning. You cannot unknow what you know. You cannot unsee what you have seen. But we will let you go. We will let you carry our message to the stars. What message? Do not come back. Do not wake us. Let us sleep. Let us dream. For if we wake fully, if we remember what we truly are, we may not like what we find. And in our displeasure, we might dream the universe into something else. Something new. Something where you never existed at all. The presence withdrew slowly. Like a tide going out, it faded from the ship, from their minds, from reality itself. Vel stood on the bridge of the endless horizon, staring at the blue planet below. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. He had just spoken to something that claimed to have created the universe. And he believed it. The escape. Get us out of here, he ordered. Maximum speed. Now. The endless horizon turned and fled from the Sol system. Behind them, Earth continued its slow rotation. Its people went about their lives. They woke up. They went to work. They loved and fought and dreamed and hoped. They had no idea what they were. No idea what they could do. And somewhere in the darkness between galaxies, the elders of the void felt the disturbance. They felt the stirring of something ancient, something they had hoped would sleep forever. For the first time in 1,000,000 years, the elders knew fear. Their creators were beginning to wake up.